Many middle school students fondly remember their first visit to the White House. For some, it was a tween-age glimpse of representative democracy through the window of a Greyhound bus. And for others, like the kids of the late 90s and early 2000s, it was the best way to trick your teacher into broadcasting softcore pornography throughout the computer lab.
If you guys are like me, you like surfing the internet to see what's up.
Before modems had the bandwidth to rickroll at high speeds, cyber squatting and typo squatting were among the preferred means of tricking someone into clicking something that they didn't want to see. Early internet settlers gobbled up domains of trademarked brands like Panavision.com, which tricked Hollywood types seeking info on 35mm film into viewing aerial photos of Pana, Illinois. Sites like PETA.org took things a step further, exposing people for the ethical treatment of animals to images of people eating tasty animals.
Stay on your board and surf safely.
The Clinton administration first published WhiteHouse.gov in 1994, and by 1995 the first imitator had staked their fake claim at WhiteHouse.org, a satirical campaign website complete with photos of Bill Clinton negotiating with aliens as opposed to newts, and short biographies of political opponents branded as losers, jerks, and weenies in a 56K precursor to our modern discourse.
You shut up, man.
There was also WhiteHouse.net, another official-looking knockoff that featured an expansive collection of executive fan mail from visitors who were incensed by pretend proposals to paint the White House green, add the Jolly Roger symbol to the USA flag, or fund the wasteful Bureau of Missing Socks. Even users on Angel Fire and GeoCities got in on the action, crafting carbon copy political parody sites for anyone savvy enough to casually stumble upon a 66-character URL. Jonesing to get in on the Paula Jones jokes, a man called Dan Parisi got a hold of WhiteHouse.com in May of 1997. The page was originally crafted as another parody and commentary site of the White House and US politics, but traffic wasn't great, and after taking note of the lucrative market for adult websites through what must have been hours of painstaking research, Parisi decided to take things in a slightly different direction.
Did you know that you gotta be careful what you do and where you go out there in cyberspace?
In August of '97, WhiteHouse.com was reimagined as the web's preeminent destination for typographic pornography. Leaning into its below-the-beltway identity, the refreshed site featured X-rated imagery. In a phrase that belongs in the pledge, the site's masthead proclaimed that our nation's young teens, hot lesbians, and hardcore nymphomaniacs all gather here to serve you and serve their country. To honor that oath, the homepage was peppered with uncensored images of nude women, AOL-friendly erotic stories, and even links to thought-provoking free speech opinion pieces like Microsoft sucks. And the timing of the relaunch was just right. Cigar smoke from President Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky was just starting to billow over the horizon, and the American public needed a trusted resource of XXX exclusive models, hot interns, and Hollywood hooters to serve as a guide through this turbulent time. The smut was an overnight success. A year into the new venture, more than 7,000 subscribers were regularly forking over $20 to uncover the latest intern of the month, raking in more than $1 million in annual revenue. In its heyday, the site attracted 80,000 daily visitors, 13 times more people than the White House itself, where at least one guy was actually having sex instead of downloading it.
When you get older, probably gonna go online every day.
But not everyone was enamored with tricking civic-minded researchers into visiting the penthouse of Netscape. Almost immediately, AOL started flagging WhiteHouse.com emails as spam. And in December of '97, the White House counsel's office sent Mr. Parisi a strongly worded letter in which they objected to the use of images of the White House and First Family to peddle memberships to an adult video club. But the site ultimately fell within Mr. Parisi's First Amendment rights, and a helpful disclaimer stating that the page wasn't actually associated with the US government let users know that they could either beat it or get lost. You see, the fundamental problem with the internet is that anyone can use it. That includes you. I look forward to your comments. That also includes children, who might not be old enough to understand the intricacies of top-level domain hierarchies while hunting down photos of Socks the cat. In 2000, the Seton Hall Constitutional Law Journal laid out a hypothetical tale of a 4th grade social studies student writing a 2-page paper about the US government. Typing in WhiteHouse.com and clicking on First Ladies, the student would go on to encounter revealing photographs of Miss Whitehouse, which were completely inappropriate and wholly unacceptable, at least until January 2017. Now, this scenario is far from hypothetical. Redditors recall story after story of Catholic school teachers inadvertently exposing students to adult content for the first time in their lives, outside of Mass. Computer labs were plastered with instructions not to visit WhiteHouse.gov, as if spelling boobs on a calculator was an equivalent technological thrill. And speaking as someone who blithely got permission in class to visit the site, the joy of briefly embarrassing a dedicated public servant served as a powerful reminder that teachers don't get paid enough for this shit.
See you in cyberspace.
Well into the new millennium, the site chugged along as a cautionary tale from a pre-autocorrect era. But in 2004, Parody had a change of heart over his typo squatting endeavor and decided to clean up his code. His son was about to enter kindergarten, and he was worried that he'd be teased over the family business. The timing of this White House paint job was also quite convenient. Then Representative Mike Pence, a man weary of double-clicking a mouse over fears that it's too suggestive, had just sponsored the Truth in Domain Names Act of 2003, which became a law that made it illegal to use deceitful URLs to trick people into viewing obscenity. And considering that Parody had already spent years cyber-squatting on a whole host of other domains like Madonna.com and WallStreetJournal.com, maybe the man who goes to Mother was right that it's time to take a break from GoDaddy. Mr. Parody considered selling the site altogether. Not to a terrorist or another porno company, but to an interested party like WhiteHouseFoods.com. But ultimately, like a dad who could never part with his box of old Playboys in the basement, he chose to keep the domain.
Most people out there in cyberspace are just like you and me.
In 2005, the site shed its adults-only image and embarked on its present journey of showcasing an ever-changing grab bag of .com garbage. Over the years, it's highlighted real estate listings, local town hall meetings, and resistance-era politicking. As of press time, in its present incarnation, it's both an outdated election betting site and an outdated resource for COVID-19 information.
You should still surf safely.
Since the site began, it's been called one of history's worst websites and one of history's most important websites. To me, I think they're both right. Building a porno business around an easy-to-make typo may not have been the most noble pursuit, but the site nevertheless taught a generation of web users, but sadly not enough, not to take things they see on the internet at face value.
That was some pretty good advice, huh?
And even though WhiteHouse.com was never at the apex of web design, content, or good taste, it's hard to see how an early .com cash grab could further sully the image of a building constructed by enslaved people.
Save surfing! Never give out your password to anyone, not even your best friend. Don't even tell someone who might look or sound official. I mean, that's like giving a complete stranger a key to your house.